Hello. Today I want to show you how to make a gingerbread pavlova, which is my favorite pavlova. I make it at Christmas time, and everyone loves it. It's a different take on a classic pavlova. There's lots of pavlova recipes you can try in here, but this one's the one I want to show you today. So I will just get going. I've turned on my oven to 150, and I have lined my baking paper. So I actually find that drawn circles on my baking paper. The thermo server is the 2.6 thermo server is the perfect shape size for this. And then you just need to remember to put your paper texture side down. You don't want texture on your pavlova. So that's all ready. And we'll get into the recipe, and the recipe tells you to do that. So now it's saying trace the circles. So we're going to start by milling sugar. Now, a lot of Thermomix recipes say to use raw sugar. This one says to use white sugar, and the reason why is because a lot of raw sugars have a lot of molasses added into it, and it's not actually a natural raw sugar. The one I'm using, I don't know if you can see it, it's an organic raw sugar where it's just molasses hasn't been added. It's just the natural molasses hasn't been taken out yet, and it's very fine. So I'm confident this will be okay. If you're not confident in your raw sugar, get white sugar. Or caster sugar. The reason is the molasses, same as any kind of residue or oils or anything that could be in your bowl or anything, will diminish your egg white's capacity to be extra fluffy and big. So that's why it says to use white sugar. So I've put in 200 grams, and I am going to mill that for 15 seconds. If you want it to be a fine powder, you can see it starting to mill there nicely. And then we're actually going to do more. There's a lot of sugar in pavlova. So it's telling me to set it aside and then add even more in of that sugar dust going into the air. How cool is that? Love making our own icing sugar in the Thermomix. So if you have icing sugar, you can skip this step. I don't ever buy it. I just have the raw sugar because I can make my own caster icing sugar or brown sugar. Okay. Love that. The scales are there. It's just watching me add that in. So 130 grams of sugar, and we'll mill that. And then we'll get to whipping the egg white. It's the fun part. So one thing to know before you make anything with egg whites is to have a really clean and dry bowl. So what I've done is a vinegar wash in my bowl so that it is very clean. So how I do that is add enough water to cover the blades, and then I add in a good splash of vinegar. I put it on kettle mode or just heat it up to 100 degrees and then whiz the water around. It really does lift any residues that you've got from previous cooking in there. And yeah, just leave the bowl I like to air dry it, but you can, however you dry your bowl, as long as you've got a clean towel. It's just going to make sure your egg whites whip nicely. And the other thing I've done is I've cracked my egg whites earlier in the day so they can sit at room temperature. Just want to get all that sugar out. So they can come to room temperature rather than being fridge temp. So if you can see, my egg whites are all in my nice metal bowl there, hopefully staying nice and clean, ready to be whipped. So now we're going to insert the butterfly whisk. So to insert the butterfly, still a bit more sugar around there. It doesn't really matter, but if you want to be really finicky, you can actually clean and dry it again with the sugar, but I think it's okay. So I'm going to add the butterfly just on top of the blades, and then if you give it a anti-clockwise twist, it locks in place really well. So then we will add our egg whites. So I've got 8 egg whites, which is 250 grams, roughly. It should be close enough. It's 246. But if I do a bit of scraping, I might be able to get a bit more. Okay. That will do. That will do nicely. And then we want a pinch of cream of tartar. Apparently it helps stabilize the egg whites. So go with it. And we are going to do this without the measure cup. Just on, it says set to 5 minutes, 37 degrees, speed 3.5. And that 37 degrees might sound a bit different that we're heating it up, but it actually helps cook the egg whites really nicely. Like it helps fluff them up. So we'll do that when that's done. I just wanted to come in at the halfway point. It's been 2 minutes, 30 seconds, so I can show you what's happening in there so far. And yeah, I'll be back. I just thought maybe you'd want to see that. It's exciting. Hey, it's been 5 minutes and that's ready. So I'll show you what we have here with our egg whites, all nicely whipped. And we carry on. So now it's telling me with the butterfly still in place, we are going to set it for another 5 minutes on speed 3. And this time we're going to slowly add our icing sugar 1 spoon at a time until well combined. So I do, 1 spoon at a time, just a dessert spoon, and I kind of sprinkle it in slowly. I don't know if this is boring to watch. I feel like it is. Maybe I should pause the recording. It's literally me doing this for a few minutes. I'll pause it. Okay, that is done now. So we have our meringue. Looks so pretty. I don't know if you can see that. Well, yeah, it's nice and firm. It's not tipping out, but we've still got more to add now. So that's a normal pavlova. Oh, so now, yeah, that's right. It wants us to have the blade spinning while we add our next ingredients. So I've got some ginger, because remember we're doing gingerbread pavlova. So I've got ginger, corn flour, a little bit of vinegar, and vanilla paste. So this is I'm almost at the end. This is my homemade vanilla paste. The recipe's on cookidoo. It's brilliant. I recommend giving it a go. So, okay, return to speed 3. And we're going to add the vinegar. And corn flour and ginger. I don't know if you're meant to do this slowly or not, but it's only going for 30 seconds, so I can't do it too slowly. And the vanilla. I didn't have all the vanilla in yet, so I'm going to press back. Anytime you're not happy with what the Thermomix is done, you just press back and do it again. And because that egg white is so firm, it's kind of just sitting at the top there, guys. That's okay. Yeah, mixing in now. But it is very firm egg white, so it looks good. Okay, so now it says to remove the whisk, so that's okay. And we want to spoon the mixture onto our circles to be about 4 to 6 centimeters thick, but it'll just be, you don't need to measure it because it'll just be, as long as you're in the circle, it'll be what it is. So, and you kind of want them both to be even as much as possible. Look at that, looks so good. It's so silky, beautiful. So removing the whisk is awkward while you've got all that in it. So I'll just get some out first. But yeah, we just want to spoon it onto our tray. So good. So a lot of people are scared of doing pavlova. I don't know if they're scared of all the sugar that's in it or scared of the process, but I think the Thermomix makes it pretty easy. And the recipe is just formulated to work like that. The set time of 5 minutes, 37 degrees, speed 3.5, the butterfly whisk is awesome. Like it just works every time. I have heard of some people having problems with egg whites. I do think it's to do with something, whether the bowl's not properly clean, maybe the egg whites aren't, I don't know. maybe there's a bit of egg yolk in or something. I don't know. Maybe it's the sugar. So I'm just spreading it out. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. And it doesn't have to be perfect because the rustic look is good. It makes it look homemade for starters, but it's kind of prettier than a perfect circle. I think so anyway. Everyone has their own opinion on that, I guess. You can do this as in other shapes as well. There's another really good recipe. The recipe is the same, but the shape is different. You can do it in a wreath shape, which is kind of pretty. And the recipe on cookidoo for that one has a berry coulis that goes in it. So that's something else you could try. I like the gingerbread one because our family makes a gingerbread house every year, and we like gingerbread, but also I like demonstrating it because it's different. It's not what you're used to having. Oh, it's so firm, it won't get off the butterfly. But that would be really yummy for someone to lick, lick the beater. Yeah, so I just keep spooning it on. This isn't something to rush. I'm normally a very lazy, quick cook and try and do things quickly. I think certain things need time, and working with egg whites is one of those things. So don't just dump it all on. We need to be a bit gentle with it. It's delicate. We don't want it to flop. Yeah. And if one of them ends up being bigger than the other, that is okay because that can be the base. We're going to be stacking these one on top of the other with filling in the middle. So it's okay if one ends up being taller than the other. That can just be the base. But yeah, you want them the same diameter size of the circle, but the height doesn't matter. I hope that makes sense. Okay, I think I've got it all out. Well, there's still some around the blades, just because it's so firm. It's not like getting out normal batter. It's because it just wants to stick where it is. It's very sticky, but that is enough. That's okay. And so that just goes in the oven at 150 degrees. I've already preset that. So it says to bake for 10 minutes. Set a timer, important. Then you're going to reduce the oven temperature down to 120 for an hour. In between, don't open the door. So 150, 10 minutes, then 120 for an hour. And again, turn the oven off and allow it to cool completely with the oven doors shut. So you're not going to open the oven. Some people crack it open ajar so that the humidity gets out and leave like a wooden spoon in, or your oven, what's it called? The glove, the oven glove, the mitt, just in the door to kind of keep it ajar. So that's up to you, and maybe the oven differ for that. But yeah, then I'm going to be back to show you the next steps. Okay, here we go. We are making the next part of the Pavlova now. It's the next day and they've been cooking and they're just set aside ready to be assembled. So we've got some decadent fillings to add into this Pavlova. So we're going to make a sauce, a toppy sauce. So the first thing that goes in is some butter. And then we are putting in some cream. And it says double cream, but I am just using cream. So do what you will with that. I just found it easier just to buy the cream and some brown sugar. So a basic toffee sauce, butter, brown sugar, and cream. And you can make your own brown sugar, which the recipe is on cookidoo, or recipe community actually. If you don't have cookidoo, the recipes are available around the place. Okay, brown sugar. And we are putting the lid on, and this time it's asking us to put the simmer basket on instead of the measure cup. So always pay attention to the recipe and what they want you to put on top, because it changes the different recipes. And so that's just going to cook for 5 minutes. Okay, so we cooked that for 5 minutes, scraped it down, and then cooked it again for another 5 minutes. And it was bubbling away, and my kitchen smells amazing. So now we just set this aside. Well, I'm pretty sure that's what it says. Yeah. I could just set aside this bowl because I have another one, but I need this to cool down. So don't just leave it in the Thermomix bowl because that's so hot, it will take so long for it to cool down. So I do want to get most of it out. And then for this next step, I'm whipping cream. So you can just clean and dry this bowl. I do have another one though, so I can carry on quickly. It's very hot, so just gonna get another one. The lid's fine to keep using because no ingredients touched the lid. So now it's telling us, remember this is a gingerbread pavlova, so it's telling us to crumble and set aside 100 grams of gingerbread. So this is some from a house that I'd already made earlier and we've already destroyed after I took off some of the pieces that the roofs for me or whatever it was. Kids ate the lollies before I took the biscuits, of course. So now we're putting in the butterfly whisk. Again, it just goes on top. I actually like to put it to the left of the highest blade and then give it a little anti-clockwise spin to lock it in place. And we are going to add more cream, 350 grams of it. Close enough, 252. And we are going to whip that. Wait, did it say to? Wow, it didn't say which lid to put on. I'm going to use my measure cup, but that's interesting, isn't it? So 3.5. Sorry. Now with whipping cream, the time isn't set because when you're whipping cream in your Thermomix, the time will vary every time. So do not ever have a time in your head of how long the cream is going to take. I leave it about 20 seconds with the lid on, the measure cup on, sorry. And then I'm going to come and have a look through the top and just watch it. You can't go too far because sometimes you get butter. And actually the closest to expiry date, so the older the cream, the quicker it whips. So if you've got new cream that's going to expire a really long time away, it'll take longer to whip. And you can actually also hear it. So I can hear now that that's changing structure. So I'm going to have a look. So it says whip until soft peaks form. Take care not to over whip. So yeah, now I'm just watching. I do like a firm cream, but I think that's good enough. And I'll show you what my cream looks like. That's been 50 seconds. I can see it doesn't matter, there's a little bit running at the very bottom, but all around the texture of that cream is what I would like. So that's good enough for me. Now we are going to add some mascarpone cheese, 250 grams, which is pretty much every tub comes in that amount. So this is, as I said, very decadent. If you're wanting to make it a bit simpler or save some money on the cheese, you can just do all cream because it's still going to be delicious. This just adds a very decadent element with that beautiful, rich mascarpone cheese. Yum. And our ground ginger going in. And I am actually going to just scrape down a little bit. That's going to be good. So, and it's only 2 seconds. I'll put that in. And it doesn't seem like it's going to have done much. 2 seconds on speed 2, but we don't want to over whip that cream. So it's telling us to remove the butterfly whisk. But even in 2 seconds, it actually has incorporated pretty well. Anything else you could just do with this spatula, but I'm just checking. It's actually done a good job. Looks great. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. And so everything we've done so far can be done ahead of time and have each element in the fridge. Well, the sauce and the cream in the fridge. Don't put the pavlova in the fridge because you actually want to assemble this right before serving. So if you're taking this to someone's home, take it disassembled. And I know that's a little bit annoying right before serving time, but that's just the way it is with pavlova. It's better to assemble it fresh, like the banana, because we're going to put banana in it too. Like I don't want that just sitting around going bad. Same with the cream, you know, you want that left in the fridge. Just yeah, reasons. But it's very easy to assemble. You probably do need 5 minutes, but that's okay. Your guests and friends and whoever can wait 5 minutes for you to assemble the cake. So I'm going to set this aside in the fridge now and come back when it's time to serve to my guests who I have tonight. Okay, here we go. It's time to assemble our pavlova. So I've put one of the discs on my serving platter, and I want to use about half the cream to go on top. So just kind of, around. And because my cream's been in the fridge, it's gotten a little bit thicker. I just had a taste, dipped my spoon in to have a try, and it tastes so good. And I peeked into one of the cracked parts of the pavlova to have a look underneath to make sure it was all nice and spongy in there, and it is. I mean, I knew it would be, but it's always nice to see what's happening with your baking. So actually this revolving serving platter is really good. It's from the Thermomix mix shop. It makes decorating cakes really easy because you can just spin it as you go. It's a little plug there for you. No, I actually think it's really handy. Okay, so the cream is on. A little bit more if I wanted to. Okay. Next, we want some of the gingerbread. So just again, sprinkle it around. Try and get it around the edges so it looks nice, so that you can see it in between the layers. You know what I mean. You want to be able to make it look pretty. And then, yeah, in the middle as well. Okay, gingerbread. And then we're going to put on some banana. The recipe has some optional nectarine, and I haven't tried it with the nectarine. I just think banana and caramel and ginger are just the perfect match. So I just don't think it needs it, but give it a go if you like nectarine. Yeah, some pieces in the middle. How's it looking? Okay, then it's already a lot, right? Then we want some of our toffee sauce. So I'm just going to kind of drizzle that around. When I said this was a decadent dessert, this is what I was talking about. And you don't need to be neat with this because it looks cool when it's just kind of drizzled around. So now the tricky part for me is putting on the next disc. And it looked so perfect when it was baked, my top piece. And then when I put this underneath to make sure it wasn't going to stick to the baking paper, and it's all cracked. I'll try and show you how nicely it was. And then I got this big crack in the middle when I went to lift it up. So it doesn't matter because we're going to be covering it. So never despair. But obviously, since I'm doing this in front of people, I was hoping for it to be neater. I wanted it to be as pretty as it was before I wrapped it for you all. But anyway, you can see the crack bit there. It's okay, doesn't matter. Because we're about to cover it. So here we go again. It's just a matter of, now we just use up whatever you've got left. And make sure you cover all the cracked bits. Well, we're going to cover everything with the cream, but yeah, it looks really good. I know it's going to taste good because we've done this a few Christmases in a row, quite a while. It's become a tradition for us in our family. And I've got guests who are outside tonight. They don't know I'm filming a video in here because if I had have told them, they probably would have come and mucked around in my video. But I'll tell them after when I show them the dessert. I think it's funny. As funny as my kids think it's so funny that I've got videos on YouTube and that I have a YouTube channel. I mean, I do too, but it is funny. Okay, so cream all around. Looks great. And then we're going to do the gingerbread all around. So I'd love to know if you make this or any other kind of pavlova. Just get in touch with me. If you're on the cooking class, you'll have my email address. Well, my email address is in the YouTube channel as well. But yeah, comment and let me know because I'm really always curious. Oh, okay, and then I could have just done that. Then we want the banana all around. You don't have to be systematic with this, just whatever. I think the recipe says 2 bananas and I've only done 1. Because it was a really big banana. I remember last year feeling like there was too much, but now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking I probably could have done 2 bananas. It doesn't matter. So, and now we're going to drizzle some of the coffee sauce. You don't have to use it all if you feel like it's too much. This sauce is always good kept in the fridge. You know, put it on ice cream or pancakes or whatever dessert. Sticky date puddings, but you know, okay. Yeah, see, I think that's enough. This is very rich as it is, so I'm not going to do the rest of this. I'm just going to leave it as is and show you our beautiful gingerbread stacked pavlova. So pretty. Hope you've enjoyed that and Merry Christmas.